It is showtime, baby. Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to the round nine teams show. I'm in the chair. I got Pommy with me. We're giving Dog we're managing him, giving him a bit of a rest tonight. He works extremely hard. He's in the comments. Good to see you here, Dog. Pommy, mate, it's been a week. It's been a week of inflection.
Yeah, I was going to try and avoid any stereotypes, but 7 days is a long time in football. I could be a coach. I've got the pattern down pat.
Are you free on the weekends for 15 minutes for a press conference?
Yeah, I could do the press conference better than I think some coaches. But nah, it's obviously we've got to go again, haven't we? So do you know what I mean? We've got to go again and quick turnaround, which sounds weird being a POM because our turnarounds are 3 days. You get 7. So a lot of time to digest. And obviously this is a big game, this one. And it seems like we say that every week though, innit?
Yeah, we attach ourselves to each game fiercely, and we do. But obviously when you've lost 3 of the last 4, something's got to give. And this week is the perfect opportunity, as they all are. So just on that, can you imagine if we had a Premier League type schedule where we would play on a Friday? We played on Friday night, for example, and then we're fronting up for a game on a Tuesday night. You got no time to panic.
Yeah, it's probably why my content is like it is. You see a real angry POM at the source, and then Monday you see a more measured POM. I've taught myself to get over it very quickly. So just, punch a pillow, get it out of your system. And then you on to the next one because players have got to do that. If the players are literally at home right now going, oh my God, Brisbane, oh my God, Charlie Cameron, they're going to get battered this weekend because the guy next to me, Mr. Marcus Bontempelli, is in some ripping form at the minute.
Yeah, absolutely he is. And the Dogs are... Well, they're not dissimilar to us, are they? In where we sit amongst the group on the ladder and our stories.
Well, you got to remember what we're going through now. De Carlton need to sack their coach. De Carlton need to change their board. Beveridge was going through this 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I would say the Doggies have been similar to us. When they've been impressive, they've been impressive. When they've been mediocre, they've been really mediocre. It's going to be an interesting one, this, because the Doggies and us, even when we were très terrible, we've always looked like we're up for the fight with the Doggies. And, when people say danger game, I would imagine Doggies, they probably look at Carlton and go, oh, fuck, not them, danger game. Because this is a game that we have happy memories with. This is a big game, this. This is a big game for the boys because I think they look across at the Doggies and form is a different story, but they'll look and they'll say, you know what, I fancy a bit of him. I'd imagine all these players versus 23 of theirs, they'd say, I'd be up for this. I fancy this.
Yeah. And whether we like it or not, we are coming off a week of extreme external noise from the mainstream. I think the mainstream have probably cut us some slack, but I think this week was our turn for the team and the club to be put into the furnace. And generally speaking, we generally see a bounce back in these sorts of games. I would love to get to a point where we're not relying on falling into a hole to find that, extra bit of motivation to prove a point or whatever the case may be. But look, the reality is 3 of the last 4 we've lost. It only takes 4 to 5 weeks to really make or break a season. And we've just got to hope that what they've worked on this week comes to fruition.
Yeah, and it's been an interesting thing. You've got to criticize the performance. Last week was... I think I said it best in my native tongue. It was pish. There's no other harsher words that I can give. If I say something's pish, it's really bad. I do think it was interesting. I think Mardi Sagalata, if I've massacred your name, I apologize. I think he's I had a go, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, as Voss would say, the effort was there. The effort was there from POM. I agree here. I thought this was the week, and this is my only thing that I was disappointed with. I thought this week, I think Mr. Chera, who's hiding behind you, another good-looking lad like yourself, I felt he was hung out to dry because I felt that press conference, he could have said anything. And I think the way the fan base is and the way that the market is at the moment, he was going to get slated.
Either
And
way.
the one player I can't criticize this year has been Chera, because Chera's shown me a stage of his career I didn't know. He has heart. He's got a bit of pride about him. In fact, I would say he's 2018 Crips for us at the moment when we're shit. He's one guy that you can rely on that isn't going to have a shit game. He is going to put 100% in, and you can see it when he comes off the field. I felt this was the week if Crips should have said, I don't care whoever's told Chera's doing the press conference. This is my press conference. This is me. I protect my team. I front the media. I felt this was the week. I would have loved Crips to say, you know what, the furnace is on and I'm the man for the furnace. I didn't like Chera going there because I actually worry about Chera because he has been, some of the comments about Chera, I don't feel sorry for anyone, but I do feel sorry for him because he has copped it, and I'll give Chesney it. I don't think you can complain about Chesney's on field this year.
No.
I would have liked to see Cripps take that press conference and say, you know what, I've got my boys. It's me.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a few ways to look at it. You can say, oh, everyone's a leader at the club. But I think in a reaction like what we got over the weekend, I'm with you. I think it would have been, again, without knowing the circumstances, what was Cripps doing after training? Did he have other commitments? I don't know. But generally speaking, I'm with you. That was I think that was a moment for someone from the leadership group to speak. And yeah, it probably comes back to a realization, rightly or wrongly, when our players talk, very few of them talk and you learn something from them, or you learn something about what they're trying to teach through their experience. Chera was saying something that they're probably teaching them on the inside, which is the truth. You can only focus on improving and getting better at what you're trying to do and the process, which a lot of people will take that little grab at the end and roll with it and say, well, they're not focused on a premiership or they're not focused on finals because the season won't be a failure. But at the end of the day, they pushed him 4 or 5 times during that press conference. And some of those questions weren't even during that press conference. They didn't make the cut on the video. And they were pushing him to think ahead of the moment. So he probably got sucked in a little bit towards the end, probably because they asked so many times. And that'll be a good learning experience for Ches. But it's like we're trying to make a conclusion now for what the full season will be. When, I mean, the Doggies, you said at the start, first 2 weeks, awful compared to the expectations. Port Adelaide, same boat. All of a sudden, 4 or 5 in a row, I think it is. So this is sport. It's a 23-game season. We're not in a complete hole. We're just not executing the basics. That's a reality. Maybe I'll ask the chat. One word. What is the theme of the season so far? For me, it's execution. Pommy, what's your, I know one word is difficult.
Punished.
Right.
I think like this week, 85 points from turnover. When these boys fuck up, they get a right hook for their troubles. And that's got to take something out of them, but it's also got to drive them, hasn't it? It's got to drive them, hasn't it? That last week was all in their control. Yes. All in their control.
Well, speaking of control, Andy Hill, he's with you.
Hey.
Peter V, mentality.
I've got to say that we say we want Cripper to front his press conference, but me and Terry were talking about this off camera. He did a podcast, and based on some of his questions for Josh Giddy, you bounce a basketball, eh, bro? Like he'd been proper gone straight on it. It could have been a disaster.
Yeah. Good on Chera for fronting up. Good on him.
I like Chesney.
Yeah, big fan of Chera. So, look, teams will come out in about 10 minutes. let's just recap what's happened. I mean, I don't think any of us did. Anyone expect Nick Newman to get off? I didn't. It's kind of the reason why there was no tribunal stream, to be honest. So, what does that do for your team selection, Pommy? Because we did the show with you on Tuesday night, and I think the majority of us had 3 changes, and obviously Newman was part of that. So, what's your change up knowing that Newman will play, assuming that you're not going to omit him? And then all of you in the audience, ins and outs, not just the outs. Let us know.
Well, there's no excuses now, is there? Because everyone always says that I want to see a little bit more physicality from Carlton. And Michael Christian has just said, if you want to write up players, get it going. So I expect a Mike Tyson-esque start in the 90s. But I think for me at the moment, looking at it, Honey has surely got to go. Surely. So I'd expect Mr. Owies to come in. It's an interesting one with Newman because I want to put this to chat, and I'll put this to you, Terry. What's everyone's thoughts on? I felt him doing that showed a lack of discipline that we had to pull the lawyers out. But I also think he gave up a few chases as well, quite famously. Mm-hmm. Is it maybe worth... Is he obviously we've protested it because we want him in, but maybe there is an argument for him to have a break anyway based on that. But I would love to see Cottrell, Kennedy, and Owies come into this team. I would definitely give Hollands. I love Hollands as well. He's my boy, and I think he's good enough to do it. I'd love to see Hollands have a week or two just out of the limelight, because this is going to be pressure cooker shit. And if we make the mistake we have done of draftees in the past, playing them in these high pressure games, and we fail, it could be game over for him mentally. It's going to be a hard way back for him. So give it to Cotters.
Yeah,
protect my boy.
Yeah, I like what Hollands is made of. I think he's made of the right stuff. I definitely take your point. I think at some point it makes sense from this side of the fence to manage him, given how early he is in his career. I was down for Cottrell. The way I had the team was, if Newman's not playing, shift Sam Doherty back to that, defensive third, wherever you put him, if it's in a pocket, if it's on a flank, and then bring Cottrell in and play him on the half forward flank. I know that we named Doherty on the half forward flank last week. And then, so there was that. And obviously I had Kennedy for Kerno, and then I had Owies for Honey. But now that Newman's playing, I'm unsure about whether you still move Doherty behind the ball. I know Kennedy's coming into the side. From my lens, I would have thought Kennedy's more suited to playing a midfield / half forward role as opposed to what Sam Doherty is. But we'll find out in 7 minutes, right?
Kennedy's got to be back in. He's got to.
Yeah.
Be. I mean, like the fact he was in my 5 votes because he gave me 10, 15 minutes. Do you know what I mean? And that was more than some guys did in 90 minutes. I mean, I know the Hollands dropping is a bit stiff, and I think there's a great argument to keep playing him. I am very cautious of this is a furnace at the moment. This is a furnace, and he's building so nicely. Mm-hmm. I think the plan will have been, you look at all the other clubs, they're rotating their draftees. You know what I mean? There's talk like Clarko wants to rest Sheasel even, and that's something that he's planning on doing in the next 3 to 4. I feel like it's a good little moment. Good little moment to do it in this pressure cooker situation.
Yep. Well, let's look at the injury news. The following have an estimated return of 1 to 2 weeks. Cunners, Marchbank, and Jack Martin. Wasn't Jack Martin 1 to 2 weeks a few weeks ago? Anyway, that's 1 to 2 weeks. De Koning is a test for concussion. That's it. And then Philp and Zach Williams are out for the season. But those 5 names are the only ones that appear on our injury list right now, which is quite remarkable given what we're used to at this point in a season.
It is. The Cunners injury, honestly, I know being let dog last year, we had a bit of a laugh that there was the Paul McCartney theory that he died and we've got someone to replace him. The Cunners one, the most innocuous calf strain you've ever seen, that is like the perpetual injury. I'd love to know what's going on there. what is going on with Cunners, because that seems to be a while. Marchbank as well seems to be a while. But to be honest, it's not like a surprise, is it? Because, I mean, grass is green, sky is blue, Cunners and Marchbank on a Carlton injury list. I can't remember the last time Cunners wasn't on an injury list, to be honest.
Well, Robbie Varley, thank you, mate. Super sticker, $20. Appreciate it. So what do you expect now? What, do you still have those three?
Yeah, I do. I think even if you don't drop Holland, you can bring him in, because I think Ed, for me, I don't think he's bringing anything the last 2 weeks. I don't think anyone else can argue he is. Do you know what I mean? And I think the only way, if what Voss is saying is true, it's about, and Mr. Cherra's backed it up, it's about now cohesion as a team. Cohesion as a team. Ed Kerno's not going to be there next year. Ed Kerno's not going to be there 2 years' time. So Kennedy is. So give Kennedy that role. Do you know what I mean? Give Kennedy that role. And give him, he is going to be there in 2-3 years' time. So now's the time to learn, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? If we are still, I don't believe in learning, but I do believe now's the time that they need to get involved as a team. And this is going to be the team that takes us forward. And I'd like Voss to show some balls. Whatever team he picks now, barring injury for 4 weeks, this is the team. And he gets them through this rough patch together. Yeah. And that's what they need. Cohesion, dare, endeavour is so important. Play them together and let them either die as a team or rise as a team. No more massive changes and no more what ifs and maybes. Ed, VFL, give these boys your experience, because the next up and comers need to learn it. Get in there. Get in there, because at the moment, loyalty, routine ain't going to bail us out of here.
Right. What's your take on, I mean, I'm yet to really think of a sub that's been able to impact games the way Kennedy has. Maybe Cottrell, but nowhere near what Kennedy did last week. Is that maybe an ace we keep up the sleeve? Kennedy just keep bringing him on as a sub, but play him for like a third of the game.
If you're going to bring a sub specifically, I won't mind Cottrell as a sub if you're going to do that, because I think Cottrell, you look at the successful teams that have used successful subs, it's been quick guys. It's been guys that can add a dimension. And to be honest, him coming on, at least he's going to chase it. Carroll, to an extent, was sensational as a sub a couple of weeks ago when he came on. Fisher by Shane, that's a great call as well. Do you know what I mean? Just maybe gives him that little less pressure, just make something happen. I think there's options there for Carlton. I'd like to see Carlton be bold a little bit with that sub.
Interesting. Well, mate, we're moments away. Question, yes or no in the audience? No, the audience, I know what you're going to say. Pommy, will there be a meltdown tonight?
It's team selection, Terry. As a veteran, yes, every time.
There's always a meltdown. Yeah. Also, important to note, the curtain raiser. So we've been playing with the VFL. We've been playing with Harley Reid for the last few weeks. We're playing against him. So the VFL team will be playing against the AFL Academy. Now, I'm going to be at Marvel Stadium at about 4:30, 5 o'clock to watch this game. I don't want to go there and watch the AFL Academy beat down on 14 listed AFL players, but we will see.
Tell you what, it's going to be interesting to see how they go, because Harley Reid, Bugs Bellow backed me up here. He took the pina colada when the game was on the line in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be interesting to see how they go against him, because I tell you what, he outsmarted some of them. He outsmarted some of his more senior guys.
He did. What about for the Dogs? What's that?
I'm waiting for this official announcement. People are saying that 7 News has done their usual of revealing it. But
have they?
AFL hasn't updated it.
Well, I find the quickest way, actually curious, how do you all find out what's the quickest way you think? Mine is Twitter from the club.
I'm updating Twitter.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I've got people asking, where can you buy a Bunnings hoodie from?
All right. Okay. The team is out. Here we go. Cottrell is in because he's on the photo. Oh, out of bounds? What do you mean What do you mean? I saw Cottrell on the front cover of this article on the AFL app, and then the article went to out of bounds. Can somebody help us out? I've got it here. What have you got?
If just everyone stops texting me for 5 seconds, that'd be grouse. And then you can text me again.
Cottrell's in. I saw his face. Yeah, for sure.
Go away. It says here, Ed Curnow out. Kennedy and Cottrell and Owies in.
Oh, this is not a good sign. So if you go on Twitter, it says, I'm seeing double here, 6 mats. The team is in for our round 9 clash with the Doggies. I click the link on Twitter. It takes me to the website, and it's out of bounds.
Shall we start doing it? God, bloody hell, Carlton. Can't even fucking announce a team, right?
Okay, here we go. In, Kennedy, Cottrell, Owies, out. Curnow, Brody Kemp, and Josh Honey. The emergencies will be Ed Curnow, Kemp, Fogarty, and Boyd.
Come on, Blues!
Those are the changes. Thank you very much, Ugur, for the 50, who also donated 50 memberships to you guys on Monday night. So can I get an Ugur in the chat, please? Hopefully we hang around longer than 3/4 time this week.
You never know.
There you go. So just to recap, if you've just joined us, in Matt Kennedy, Matt Cottrell, Matt Owies, out Ed Curnow, Brody Kemp, Josh Honey. Okay. I'll wait until the actual lineup is out so we can see where they've put them in position-wise. But initial thoughts, Pom, talk to me.
Mate, I like it. I think Brody Kemp's a bit stiff, but I like it. I like he's gone with that extra mid, bit of extra pace. Do you know what I mean? It says to me that Doc, he's going to play a little bit more behind the ball, which I like as well. Mm-hmm. You know what? Maybe, just maybe they listen sometimes.
Well, here we go. And I'm going to remove this share screen in a moment, but just so you guys can see how it's been named. So in the back line, Young, Wiedering, Newman. No surprise there. Halfbacks. Kennedy's named as a halfback. McGovern, Adam Sard. Centerline, Akers, Cripps, and Hollins. That hasn't changed for about 8 weeks. Half forwards, Walsh, Mackay, Jack Silvani. Forwards, Durden, Curnow, Motlop. The followers are Pitto, George Hewitt, Sam Doherty. Sorry, the followers. And the bench, Chincotta, Chera, Cottrell, and Matt Owies. That's the team. All right, let's discuss. They're pursuing with Kennedy on that back line, it seems. Unless it's done for, I don't know, mind games. Who knows?
I mean, you can't read too much into where they start them on the whole field because obviously, do you know what I mean? They had Josh Honey at centre-half forward last week and he never saw it. So, but I mean, it is interesting. I mean, that does say to me that Doc's going to be playing a lot more midfield time, which seems to happen when they don't name him there. So that could be an interesting. But I mean, I like the fact that they've gone with a bit more foot speed. Do you know what I mean? A bit more foot speed. They've gone with. I think Cottrell is best 22. I don't think anyone can argue that. I think that's his bread and butter, isn't it? So I am looking forward to seeing that. And obviously, do you know what I mean? These boys have got to respond this week. We say it every week. They've got to respond, but there's got to be a point that these boys stop responding because they're being battered and respond because of intrinsic motivation. And there's a lot of players there that have been given a second opportunity that probably may not be deserving of a second opportunity. But I love the fact Ed Curnow's out. I think, do you know what I mean? I don't know what he's offered. I don't think he's offered very much. And people say experience, but has experience helped us out? I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, the other thing as well of note, I would have thought, is that all 3 that are coming out have been listed as omitted. It's all good.
I love that.
It's okay.
I love that. Okay. None of this Fugazi shit.
No. Omitted. That's okay.
Personal leave. Tired.
Yeah. Was Kemp a little stiff?
Probably, but I mean, need a bit more directness, don't we? And let's be honest, McGovern's numbers have been down since he's been in there.
Yeah, that's true.
There was probably an argument that you could have. If it'd be interesting to see what would have happened if Sam Durden was fit, because obviously he subbed Young.
Yep.
Which I think was an indication that he thought we were too tall and arborous down the back. Be interesting to see what would have happened in an ideal world should they be fit.
Yeah. Well, Young is doing something this year that he did not do last year, and that is taking a few more of these ruck contests. So I wonder if that's impacted his ability to impact the game the way he was last year. But when I break it down, and there's a lot of content to absorb this week. There were two videos in particular this week which I thought I really latched onto. One, Pommy, was your breakdown, the solutions-based breakdown at 4 a.m. after no sleep with a kebab in your back pocket and
Thank you.
and a bottle of Penfolds just next to you. And the other one was, for those of you watching, there's a YouTube channel called The Saba Show. He's brilliant. He really is. Fellow Northern Suburb boy. And he broke down all 9 of our goals that were scored off turnover. Sorry, all 9 of Brisbane's goals that were scored off turnover. And the common theme amongst all of them was our positioning. And the other thing was our ability to read and react to the situation quick enough. So if we're going to be moving the ball side to side, I think this week, do it. You know you're going to do it. Make the choice and go for it. And the other thing as well, create some more separation between yourself and the man on the mark. We're just a little too slow. So, bit more conviction this week with what we're doing. I think they've had more than enough time to practice, and somehow, I don't know what the magic formula is for, to fix it in 8 days, but somehow they've got to find a way to block out thinking about what happens if we lose and what happens if we don't make finals, and start thinking a little bit more about how do they stay in the moment and stay present. Because from the outside looking in, it just looks like they're a bit weighed down mentally with what they're thinking about. Could be off the mark, but I really don't believe it's an ability issue. I think it's an execution/mental issue.
Hey, I think you're right. And I think, I always think that a good way to look at stress is in the words of the great John Lennon. Life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans.
Yeah.
And obviously, he also said, I am the Eggman, I am the walrus. So it's quite hard to work out if this is someone we should listen to. But I like to listen to John Lennon. I think that's something that maybe these boys need to think of. Do you know what I mean? If you keep worrying about what ifs, if onlys, before you know it, you're 36 and your highlight of your career is finishing 9th. You might have a couple of B&Fs at Carlton, but let's be honest, who gives a fuck? Do you know what I mean? Because you'll go into the pub and Gary Ablett will have a couple of sweet, Brownlows. He'll have a couple of flags in his skyrocket. Life's good for Gaz Jr. If you come into that pub and say, I've got 4 John Nichols, no one cares. So that's probably it now. It's now or never. And I think that's where the frustration from the fans. I don't want to chastise the fans. I think they've got an incredible right to be frustrated. I get sick of seeing these guys every day let me down as well. And it hurts me. But you've also got to remember they're letting themselves down and they're letting the whole team down. And I think what is exciting for them is you always get a chance to reinvent yourself. Get a chance to reinvent yourself. And this is it. And I think this team selection here is probably the first one that I've got excited about, because Ed Kerner is mechanical. And that mechanical players are shit under pressure because they're thinking. Mechanical's not natural. Cottrell is one of the most gifted natural footballers you see. He's just natural. He's a kid having fun. I've had a beer with Cottrell. It's like having a beer with Chat. He just fucking loves the club. Loves the club. He's one of us out there. So you know what? We need more of that around there. Kemp, he's quite guilty of being mechanical. It's been heavily trained when he was as a junior. He's kicking and things like that. And you saw it go to water because it was mechanical. It's not native to him. So I'm excited about these boys going in. Go out there. Western Bulldogs. Used to be called Footscray. What a Mickey Mouse name. Go out there and fucking put some pride, not into your Guernsey, not for us, but for yourself, boys. We're the heart and soul. Go out there and have fun and fucking not be scared. Don't be scared. If you lose, you lose. Fuck it. But I want to see 23 men go out there and have a bit of fucking fun out there and enjoy it again.
Yeah. I want to ask you for a favor. I don't know why I'm asking you live on stream. I could just call you afterwards. I would like, because you're the stats guy, among many things, I would like to see a count of how many shepherds we make. There's a play in my mind which is ringing, and it was where they got caught in the back line. Kemp handballs to McGovern and runs past Charlie Cameron instead of putting the block on, which then leads to a handball over the top, loopy, to Jack Silvani, who was pinned holding the ball, Charlie Cameron goal. I would, and I'm not just singling out Brody Kemp, it's just the memory in my mind. It probably happened all night. I would like a count of how many times we block/shepherd for our teammates this week.
I can do that.
Great.
Consider it done, Mr. Terry.
Consider it done. Yeah. Because there's so many players right now who could benefit from their teammates working for them. I think of Cripps. I think of Harry Mackay. I think of Jacob Wiedering. I think of Charlie to an extent, but he always finds a way. Oh, Charlie, by the way, don't mean to get too excited, but Charlie against the Dogs under the roof, Harry against the Dogs under the roof. Mate, it's Fap Town.
Mate, I've got to say this. I don't often give the club credit, but I have liked that they've shut the fuck up this week as well.
Yeah.
They've done the one press conference. I haven't had any nonsense like we've had years gone by that they've dusted some Carlton legend back. He's come to training. You can see in the picture he hasn't got a fucking clue where he is. Do you know what I mean? And they've gone, oh, it's all right. I like the fact that they've maybe shut up a little bit this week, because I really do think that this week is a week that these boys have got to go back to enjoying it. Because at the moment, and I think I've seen some comments, how many times Young looks like he's lost. You can see some of these players are shell-shocked. And we said it in the live when we did the watch-along. Third quarter, when Cripps got pinged holding the ball, incorrect disposal. About 2 minutes later, Newman didn't chase after his guy. Cameron kicks a goal. You knew psychologically, gone. And they started to look like they hated every fucking minute they were out there. Yeah. Let's go back to that 8-2. I think this time we played the Dogs last year was probably the happiest I've seen this team play. They actually looked like they were having fun when they played the Dogs round 3 last year, round 2, which was weird, wasn't it? They looked like they were enjoying it, which feels like the last time I remember them enjoying it. It actually looked like they were having a bit of fun out there, a bit of a crack.
Yeah. The other thing I'm interested in, and I genuinely am not bringing this up to spur on anything, but
here we are.
The boo conversation has come up, and there's about 440 of you combined on Facebook and YouTube here watching, and I just want to get a bit of a pulse check. Will you boo Liam Jones? And if so, why? Like, do you intend to go to the game and boo Liam Jones? And if so, why? I'd like to understand.
You asking me?
I'll ask the chat, and I'll also ask you, Pom.
I boo every ex-player.
Yeah.
Mate, I don't boo them. I just enjoy every little bit of misery that happens to them. Do you know what I mean? I enjoy it. But, I mean, that's just me. I'm a Pom. Once you don't play for us, whether it's my fault or your fault, I don't want to see any success unless you're here. I mean, I love Liam Jones. When he retires, he was one of my favourites. And just for the caveat, I stand by him being a man of his words, and he stuck to his conviction. I wish there was more human beings in the world like Liam Jones who would actually have the balls to do what they say they do. I think if there was more Liam Joneses in the world, we'd have a less depressed place. But as for the booing conversation, I find Australia really weird. And I want to caveat this, right? Because all I ever read in Carlton, Collingwood, Sydney, AFL is, oh, the players have gone soft. Oh, my God. My day, they used to get the biff and they were real men and they used to drink brown beer. As soon as someone's booed, oh, what about how they feel about it? Well, hang about. You've just been suggesting we should right hook each other. Now you're worried about feelings. Like, in my opinion, coming from a soccer culture where we sing songs about your mum if we don't like you, and I've never heard a player complain. In fact, I usually hear players say it actually made me a better player, and they rose to the occasion. Frank Lampard has gained all my respect as a footballer because he used to say it motivated him, because criticism and love are the same things. They mean that you're pretty fucking good at what you do. I don't buy it. I don't. I think it's a bit of fun. Do you know what I mean? Like, the way I see it, it's gladiators. It's gladiators. Do you know what I mean? Like, I find it quite sickening that the pantomime of sport is going away. Do you know what I mean? They're pantomime villains, but they are human beings. They are human beings at the end of the day. But I mean, I'm telling you now, I know a lot of players, and the players I've spoke to, the booing and the comments from the crowd has never really affected them. Do you know what I mean? They expect it. I mean, they are paid six figures as kind of a sacrifice for being in the public service. So
yeah,
I'll enjoy every spill Liam Jones does. Don't worry about it. I enjoyed every spill Liam Stocker did, and I will continue to do it because I am blue through and through.
I think that's probably something that would get to a player more than a boo. Like in the Liam Jones situation, if he muffs a kick and we give him like a Bronx cheer, or if he drops a mark and we give him a hey, or if you sort of cheer with a Bronx cheer every time Charlie kicks a goal on him, then you get into his head.
When Stocker turned it over to Jack Silvani in the first, I was like, "Way, nice one, Stocks! I've finally seen you at a blue target. It's taken 6 years." But I mean, it's a bit of fun. I've got no malice. I'd sit down and have a beer with Liam Stocker. I'd sit down and have a beer with Liam Jones. But facts are, way I see it, we are at war with Western Bulldogs on Saturday at 7:00. So I don't like Bontempelli. I don't like Jack McRae. They can all get stuffed.
Mm-hmm.
I want to inflict 2 hours of fucking misery on them, and then I'll go back to respecting them as footballers after.
Yeah. Well, buckle up is what I say, because it's a big month ahead, but it starts on Saturday night. So just to recap, in Matt Cottrell,
teams at the bottom, lads, as well.
Matt Kennedy and Matt Owies. That brings us to 5 players with the name Matt. And sorry. And out, Ed Curnow, Josh Honey, Brody Kemp. That's the team. Now, the watch along, 7:20 p.m. Pom. 7:20 p.m.
And we're a week to go from the big game against the Maggies. So this is the last warm-up fight for that. Can't wait. Come on down if you're not at the game. We will cheer together. We will sing together. We will go absolutely bananas together, cheering these melts home to get 4 points.
Yes. So 7:20, I'll be at the game. I will be there early for the VFL to watch that. And then I'll be home as soon as possible for the fan cams. I think I've set it up for 11:15 p.m. and that gives me a bit of a buffer. I should be home by 11 on the dot. So see you on the fan cams. Also, I know that 40% of you that watch this channel, 35% that watch this channel are not subscribed on YouTube. I know that. The stats tell me. So thank you, and help a brother out. Get us to 10K. Pom, we're 500 away, mate. 500 subs away from 10K.
Con, if all 422 of you create a burner account, right, by my maths, that means you're 78 away.
So we'll do that. The review will be out on Mother's Day, on Sunday. Happy Mother's Day in advance. The player ratings, we're going to do that on a Sunday as well. And, you know, we've just got to get back on the horse. That's all we can do. Pommy, it's always a pleasure having you, mate. Thank you for being here. Ladies and gents in the audience, thank you for being here. Thank you for sticking fat and sticking together. And see you Saturday, mate. Come on. Come on,
Blues. Fucking kill the dogs.